The next session is called ASA and CPP Playbook for Mobile Games. And I'd like to welcome on stage Ian Pernia from AppTweak.
So a little bit who we are. I work at AppTweak. We are an app store marketing and intelligence platform. We help mobile leaders optimize their apps' paid and organic performance in the App Store. We are the industry's most comprehensive platform. We offer a lot of great tools, including App Store optimization and keyword intelligence, Apple Search Ads management, app reviews management, market intelligence reports, API capabilities, and a lot of different reporting features. We are trusted by over 2,000 plus mobile leaders, highly rated on G2, and work with a lot of great companies and brands, and some of you might recognize yourself up there today. We are powered by our Atlas called AI, our AI called Atlas, sorry. Our Atlas has been trained on millions of App Store data points, including over 20 million keywords, 6 million apps, and provides us with a lot of great features that help us better understand the App Store algorithms and how different apps and keywords are grouped together. We have offices around the world. I myself, I'm going to be working in some of the Asian offices this summer, so that's pretty exciting. But we were able to offer, boots on the ground and provide localized support in a lot of different markets. A little bit about me. So I'm senior application consultant here at AppTweak. I've been working in the ASA industry for about 4 years now. I'm also the Apple Search Ads team lead here at AppTweak. I'm a Bay Area native, sports enthusiast, and mobile gamer myself. My favorite genre being card battle strategy games. Cool, so now the introduction's out of the way, we can talk about why we're all here today. So today's agenda, we're gonna start off talking about just the fundamentals of Apple Search Ads and custom product pages, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Then I'm going to go through some statistics on CPP usage in mobile games that our data science team was able to put together. And then finally, what I think will be especially interesting for everyone here today will be some examples of effective CPPs that I've been able to find using AppTweak. Cool, so introduction to Apple Search Ads. So why is Apple Search Ads a unique ad network? Well, first of all, it's the only advertising platform native to the Apple App Store. There's over 650 million weekly active users who are high intent, and I think that's especially important, is that they're high intent users actively searching for apps and games to download. In terms of specifics, there's no ATT opt-in or SCAD network setup, which I know is a big pain for a lot of developers these days. And it still allows post-install conversion tracking events via the ASA API. And then also what's particularly interesting with AppTweak is the unique synergy that Apple Search Ads has with ASO and how you can leverage both of them to improve both your paid and organic performance. Cool, so here are the 4 main inventories for Apple Search Ads. You have the search results, search tab, today tab, and product page ads. Each of the different formats has their pros and cons, but for the purpose of today's presentation, we'll be focusing primarily on the search results campaign, just because these are the main placement in the App Store and give you the most control over keyword bids, targeting, etc. So when it comes to setting up search results campaigns, Apple recommends the 4 standard campaign types. So you separate your campaigns based on theme. So you have brand and competitor campaigns, which are pretty straightforward. You have discovery campaigns, which historically has been a way for you to let Apple's algorithm identify new keywords for you to target. But in recent years, with mixed results and the fact that a lot of search ads platforms are starting to release their own keyword recommendations like we do at AppTweak, we find that discovery campaigns are losing a little bit of value these days. But the biggest and most interesting campaign to talk about is the generic campaign. So generic campaigns are going to be your biggest lever for incremental wins and increased visibility. And then we recommend to break down your generic campaigns further by separating them into groups based on user intent. So instead of having all your generic keywords in one campaign, you can break them down even further based on user intent. And when you do that, that actually sets you up really nicely for implementing custom product pages, which I'll talk about in a second. And then when it comes to managing campaigns, I think the first step is just understanding what the different KPIs are at each stage of the funnel. So first you have impressions. This is impacted by your cost per tap bid and the relevancy of the keyword that you're bidding on. And then next you have taps and installs, which is determined by the appeal of the ad itself. So if you've ever run into the situation, if you're running Apple Search Ads campaigns where you see high impressions but low tap-through rate, or high tap-through rate but low conversion rate, these are actually perfect opportunities to implement a custom product page strategy. Cool, so what are custom product pages? Well, it's first important to understand that there are custom pages in general on both the App Store and the Google Play Store. So starting with the Play Store, you have a lot more customization options, including both creatives and keywords, as well as title, description, things like that. But the downside is that Google App Campaigns is really the only compatible network so far, and there's much less use cases than on iOS. So on iOS, you do have limited customization options, limited only to promotional text, screenshots, and videos. But it is compatible with Apple Search Ads and other networks. And the compatibility with Apple Search Ads is what we're here to talk about today. Going back 1 second, just a quick overview of what's customizable on each platform. So as you see, on iOS on the left-hand side, it's really only the screenshots, the video, and then right underneath that is the promo text. While on Google Play, you have a lot more customization options in terms of icon, title, description, screenshots, but again, a lot less different capabilities. Cool, so back to iOS. So the core benefit of running custom product pages is essentially having alternative landing pages that can show specific content to different user segments. So essentially, you can align your creatives and messaging with different user intent, creating more relevant ads, increasing tap-through rate, and resulting in lower ad spend, and with the goal of increasing your organic keyword rankings as well. And then when to use CPPs or how to use them. So CPPs are really most effective when your audience segments are addressable and targetable. So essentially, addressable is in they resonate with different messages or visuals than your default, and targetable as in they can be isolated and tracked. So essentially what the process boils down to is finding keywords related to a specific user segment and their user intent, and creating custom pages tailored to that segment. And here we have an example from HBO Max. So you can imagine HBO Max has a lot of users coming looking for the HBO brand shows, TVs, movies, things like that. But they also have another audience segment interested in live sports. So by creating a custom product page, you can have a page dedicated to specifically showing live sports. So someone searching for live sports related keywords aren't shown the default TVs and movies, and instead are showing athletes and live games. So now that we understand what CPPs are, can go into some of the statistics on the top 50 games in the App Store that our data science team was able to put together. So first, the top categories using CPPs are the games, card categories, casino, and puzzle games, with the top keywords with the most CPPs in pretty much all casino-related terms, casino, slots, poker, keywords like that. And when we correlated this with average revenue per user, it does tell a pretty concise story where the games with the highest revenues are able to afford the cost associated with creating custom product pages. So there's the cost of the creative, the execution itself, and then the acquisition cost that comes from Apple Search Ads. So games with the highest revenues tend to be able to afford those costs. But what I think is particularly interesting is the lack of adoption lack of adoption for role-playing games and adventure games. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So hopefully some of the examples I can show will inspire people in those categories. And then here's some statistics on the ad groups themselves. So what we find is that most of the ad groups using CPPs are using them to target generic keywords. And then when compared to the default product page, we can actually see that the default product pages have higher tap-through rates and conversion rates. So on the surface level, this makes it seem like CPPs might not actually be that effective. But if you take a step back and look at the larger picture, the statistics actually make sense, because if you're using CPPs to target generic keywords, typically those generic keywords are lower performing. So when comparing the success of a CPP, it doesn't really make sense to compare it to the performance of your current default product page, but instead to do a pre and post analysis from when you implement the CPP. So our team was able to do that, and what we find is that there's significant improvements in conversion at all different steps of the funnel, from tap-through rate, conversion rate, and the biggest jump coming from the impression to install rate. So essentially, in implementing a CPP, creating more tailored messaging and creatives will improve the different steps of the funnel. And finally, I think what would be interesting for everyone here is some examples that we were able to find via AppTweak. So first, we have Empire and Puzzles here. So if you take a look at the default product page, you can see that they're giving a wide overview of all the different features they have, both RPG elements and match 3 elements. But when you look at the CPPs, what they're doing is using a CPP to target the different audience segments and the keywords related to those audiences. So first, you have a CPP that's targeting a lot of RPG and casual game-related keywords. And as a result, you can see they're showing a lot of the RPG gameplay, decision-making, customization, upgrading options, and are also using some of the casual game aesthetics that we see are pretty popular with, those clickbaity type ads these days. And one thing that's particularly interesting is that they're not actually showing the match 3 gameplay anywhere in the CPP. So again, they're targeting RPG, casual game-related keywords, and have a CPP dedicated to that audience. The second one, however, they're targeting a lot of match 3 related gameplay keywords. And as a result, the CPP itself is showing a heavy emphasis on the match 3 gameplay, even having the before and after feature, which is pretty popular among other match 3 titles. So I think they do a great job of understanding they have users interested in RPG, casual game-related elements, and audience interested in match 3 gameplay elements, and creating 2 different pages targeted to those audiences. Next, we have Solitaire Cash. So again, casino games being the top users of CPPs and casino game keywords being the most competitive, Solitaire Cash was running a CPP on those exact terms, casino games and high volume casino related keywords. And if you look at the default product page, they are essentially showing the standard screenshot layout, highlighting traditional solitaire gameplay, and kind of having a more standard look and feel. But when you compare that to the CPP is using a much more eye-catching design, using the splash screen, promoting win real money, having dollar bills flying around everywhere, and a lot of less focus on the actual solitaire gameplay itself. So if you think about their strategy, they're trying to target the highest volume, most competitive casino-related terms, and as a result, need a creative that's more eye-catching that can compete with the crowded casino space. Also, they know people interested in casino games are in it to win real money, and as a result, they're promoting that USP front and center with a heavy emphasis on that. So again, they understand that people interested in traditional solitaire gameplay and people interested in the casino-style games are different audiences and have created a CPP that can better relate to the casino game space. Next, we have Mech Arena. So I think Mech Arena is doing a really, really great job. So if you see the default product page, pretty standard screenshot layout, highlighting a bunch of different features, and just really giving a general overview of the look and feel of the game. But then when it comes to the custom product pages, for CPP1, they're targeting a lot of battle arena, MOBA, multiplayer online games, those type of keywords. And as a result, they've kind of changed their positioning quite a bit. So if you see, instead of highlighting kind of the overview of the entire game, they're really trying to focus on highlighting the different multiplayer aspects, showing 40 million users, 4.9 App Store rating, playing with real players, online multiplayer. So again, they understand that people looking for battle arena terms might be interested in these features as opposed to learning about the general features of the game. So they created a CPP really dedicated to trying to positioning themselves as a popular online multiplayer game to compete with other players in that space. And then CPP2 takes a completely different approach. So CPP2 is targeting a lot of robot-specific keywords, Transformers, Optimus Prime, things like that. And if you notice, the CPP itself is a lot more robot-focused. So they're showing the robots in different poses, showing how they communicate with each other, and the gameplay itself has been shrunk down to just fitting within the handset device. So again, they're targeting robot, Transformers, Optimus Prime-related keywords, and as a result, the CPP is more robot-focused than gameplay-focused. And finally, we have a pretty simple but effective example, especially if you are a game working with popular IP. One thing that Animation Throwdown does is that their default product page highlights the core CCG gameplay, showcases the full character roster, highlighting a bunch of different characters and cards. But with the CPP, it's pretty straightforward. They're targeting Family Guy related keywords, and as a result, they want to show Family Guy characters, locations, and really, if you notice, they don't mention deck building or card game related gameplay until the third screenshot. So again, understanding that Family Guy is a big driver of traffic for them and want to create a CPP, leveraging the brand popularity to capitalize on that traffic. So that's pretty much all I had for you today. So if you have any questions, feel free. We have some time here, or you can scan the QR code here to set up a meeting with me and other members of AppTweak to discuss more. But again, thank you for your time, and hope you all enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you. All right. Did we have any question? Because we have time for at least one. I can't see. Oh, over there.
Coming.
The microphone is coming.
Cool. Thanks, Ian, for the insightful presentation. I was curious about what is the input from the partner side or the partner that you're working with on setting up a custom product page? What do they need to do versus what do you guys do?
Yeah, great question. So we do offer a lot of different levels of support. So some of the times the clients, they understand, okay, we have different audience segments. They already are aware of the different personas, things like that. And then they kind of come to us just for the creative execution themselves. So that's a pretty straightforward part. But then there's some clients who are, working with us on a monthly basis, and they're kind of thinking of new things to do. And that's where we take more of a lead and start with brainstorming first, understanding what are the different audience segments that you currently have, what are the keywords that are associated with each audience segment, user intent, and then how can we take what you currently have in a default product page and tailor it more to what those users are looking for. So essentially, to answer your question, depends on how much level of support they need, but depending on what they need, we can have different solutions to address those needs. Awesome. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.